Oh, hey, how's it going? This week? Yeah, creativity still again. Yeah, and not this guy. This guy was very creative. He used to dance, he used to bounce up and down. But this week, we're going to talk about creativity and you as a leader. Now, when I talk about creativity and you as a leader, it's not being creative as far as how you assign tasks, but it's how you're encouraging the creativity of you and your team. I've had the great fortune of working with many creative individuals, not just at the Walt Disney World Company, but everywhere I've worked. And what I see is that those people who need that creativity, it's not planned. So you as a leader, make sure that you're not planning their creativity, but also give them enough time to be creative. One of the examples that I've used a few times in other scenarios is we were at a consulting group, and that consulting group helped those major automotive manufacturers. I mentioned it before, PDI. And we had to come up with a way to help people understand a financial statement. We included so many different aspects, and we had a storyline throughout. Now, the storyline helped encourage and embrace the emotions of, hey, this is fun. And we made some of those changes. But for me, I wanted to jump in and help. I wanted to jump in and be creative. But the majority of my job at the time was also provide leadership, guidance, and data. I had to do some data work and figure out stats. So it wasn't time for me to be creative, but it was in time for me to encourage my team members to be creative. And they came up with some great stories. They involved us all. We wore coats. We wore different things so that we can represent the story. All I had to do was show up because they were the creative ones. And what I did is I encouraged them, hey, don't go over this budget. Let's do this. And then how do we replicate that? Now, we changed it when we brought it back from a hotel ballroom to something internally, but the story remained the same. And as a leader, it wasn't my responsibility then to deliver on the creativity. It was to encourage the creativity. Now, we can be creative and tell stories, and we can draw pictures, and we can use technology to do things. But remember, as a leader, that creativity can come from anyone on the team. And for you're measuring it by your end results. I have a team of designers now that really need the time to think and be creative. Otherwise, it's just a checkbox. And it doesn't matter if it's compliance or not. We can tell some wonderful stories with superheroes. We can tell some wonderful stories with our patients and have it interactive. But if I don't allow them the time and the breadth to do that and encourage it and ask questions, they stop. And for me as a leader, I need to recognize that, because when you're trying to be creative, it's a switch, and it's a switch in your brain to where, again, it's not just the hat that you're going with. It could be, a different accent altogether. So when you're trying to be creative, don't put on just a different hat, but take on the persona of whoever you're trying to model. So think about all of those times that you wanted to be creative, and your thought was, well, I'm going to be a writer today. What did you need? What does your team need? You need space. You need quiet. You also need the lawnmower to stop going outside. But hopefully you don't hear that, because that's not being creative. That's using your surroundings to make sure that you're pointing out some of the obvious. Think about what you need, and think about where you're making the connections and where you're growing your team. That's how you're measuring it, is the outcome and what the other people that interact with you and your team are sharing with you. We talked about all these other measures before. The last few have been about individuals and how you're demonstrating, how you're supporting them. That creative piece is, again, making sure that that next step is the aha moment. It's the delight moment. That creativity is what really drives that writer in all of us, or that storyteller. Let those that need to be creative be creative. Some of us, at times, when we switch on that other side of our brain to where we have to measure and we have to get into the programming part, that creative part, or that writer side, is not as easily accessible. Remember that when you're setting expectations for your team members. So you as a leader help provide that guidance so that others can help create. Well, that about does it for this week. Next week, we're going to talk about creativity in your team. Take care and have a great day.